Today I'm going to give you a quick example of what can be achieved with the new features that have been added to Alfresco Records Management version 2.3. So I'm just going to log in and I'm going to dive straight into a site that's been created for our HR department. Now one of the things our HR department does is create new employee contracts and get them reviewed with the employee until everybody's happy and they get signed. Now one of the principles behind Alfresco Records Management is that we want to allow the end user to do their job and have records management policy kind of working alongside them. So hopefully we can show that in action with our new features. So first off, I'm going to go and create a new contract. This is going to be for me. And let's just add some details of that contract. There we go, you can see I'm going to be a software engineer and I must be in the office 5 days a week. And finally we just add a description to this and you'll see why we use this later. So there we go, we go and create that. Now at this point it's in this draft mode, in this draft folder. So we can go ahead and make any modifications we want. You can imagine the team collaborating around this content as you would in any other way. We're also going to mark it up as a contract using the tags. In actual fact, let's just make another modification. The finance department has come back and confirmed that we're going to offer me $100,000 to be a software engineer. So we're going to save that. Okay, so now this is ready to be sent for signature. So the HR manager can just move that into the sent for signature directory. Now if we go and have a look at this, you can see there's nothing really that different about it now. But in this new state, when it's been sent for signature, what we want to do, the records management policy says that at this point we are accountable for all the modifications that we send back and forth to the potential employee. So we actually want to record all the changes that are made. But we still want this document to be editable and collaborated on. So if we go and have a quick look at the details of this document, you'll see that there's a small indicator in the version history. There we go, just here. And this occurred when we moved this document into this state. And what that's done is actually recorded that version. So we now have a record of the version of the document we sent to the potential employee for their approval prior to signature. So let's imagine I read this and for whatever reason I'm not happy about coming into the office 5 days a week. So I negotiate and we come to an agreement and we say, okay, we're going to amend the contract so it'd be 4 days a week with 1 day at home. Okay, so we're all happy with that. We save that, and the employee now signs the contract. Just before we skip on, let's just go back and look at that version history again, because what we'll see is at this point in time we're actually wanting to record all of these changes. So you can see here we are, these version history looks the same, but again we've got this little marker indicating that we're recording these changes now. So everybody's happy. The new employee has signed the contract, at which point we can move it into the signed directory, and we'll see that now this has become a permanent record of that employment contract. It's just become a record as we would normally, and all the items have been changed. Now before we go and have a look at the file plan, let's just have a quick look at how the Content Manager has actually set up this site so that this is possible. You can see that we've got the rules indicators on the folders, and we're using again the folders as a nice kind of way of building out our business policy in this area. So we'll just go down in each in turn and have a quick look. First off, we're simply just making anything that comes into here versionable, so we can track the versions. Now this is just your regular content version history. Okay, so in the draft state we're just recording everything that happens informally. Now as soon as it gets sent for signature, we want to start formally recording the the revisions we make. So we can now use this declare as record, the new feature, which is to be able to declare as a version record. So what we say is every time an item enters this folder or is updated, we'll declare the current version as a record. Okay, so we're just constantly kind of keeping an eye on what's happening to that version history. Then finally, when we move it into the signed folder, we can see that we're going to archive this contract by simply declaring it as a record. Okay, so that's how we build our records management policy into our working environment in a way that doesn't impact the user. But obviously we want to go and see where all these records have gone, because we're now interested in what the records management team has to do. So let's jump into the records management site and go and hop into the file plan. Now we've got a file plan here, and actually the legal department part of the file plan is where we want our contracts to live. And if we drill into here, we'll see that we've automatically been created a folder for me. And if we pop into this folder, and let's just give that a sort so it's clear what's going on, you will see that we have 3 records ranging from 1.3, 1.4 and up to the final revision. So these are actually the recorded versions of that record that we hived off in the signed state. So this first one here was the state of the contract when we sent it for signature. This includes the modification, and then this is the final revision that was signed. Okay, so this has all happened automatically for us. You can note that it's bypassed the unfiled records area and automatically been filed into here. So let's go have a look at the rules that are enabling this auto filing. So if we click on manage rules, we can see that we're using we're keying off the HR contract tag, and we're going to file those into the employment contract area using the description on that contract to actually construct the record folder. Now I'd probably imagine that in most real systems we would have a type for HR contract, and we can use any of that metadata, any of that custom metadata, to build this path out. Obviously for the purpose of this demo I'm just using the tools that are available to me. So if we go back to those records and just look at them in a bit more detail, you can see if we have a look at the final version, in 2.3 we have extended the way that we show relationships. So you'll note that the RM services are clever enough to understand that if you're filing continuous revisions of the same source document, that it will actually wire those together using the version relationship. So we can actually now traverse the record version history through here, so we can look back and see all the previous versions. What you'll also notice here is that the previous versions, the event relating to it being version has completed, and so you can use that as a driver to control your disposition schedule. So you can imagine having a truncated or a semi-truncated version history, and this can reduce your liability of holding on to information that is no longer relevant.